Good morning, friends. Welcome back to Astrology Today and Tarot with Melrose. This post is the Tarot portion and the second half of my daily astrology reading, which you can find on my other channel called Astrology Today with Melrose. The idea here is to provide some further intuitive insight into the current vibes based on the day's astrological aspects. First, I will discuss the tarot card that sits on the side of the page, and then I'll do another quick rundown of today's astrology before throwing a random card that speaks to the day's energies. So let's go ahead and get into that. The tarot card that sits on the side of the page right now is the Nine of Swords, and it is there because it represents in tarot in tarot and astrology, the first 10 days of the sun's transit through Gemini. Not the first 10 days, the second 10 days of the sun's transit through Gemini. So, Gemini is an air sign. Swords in tarot are air, and this is about how we use our thoughts and our words, and it's sort of how we make our plans as well. So, in this case, in the Nine of Swords, you see a person whose thoughts, are possibly paining them, and that they might be losing some sleep over them. The Nine of Swords represents a time of anxiety, perhaps a feeling of hopelessness, a time where we might be having bad dreams or losing sleep. And this is because we're trapped in sort of a negative loop of our own thinking, right? So a little bit of over-analysis paralysis, perhaps, but also this pain that comes with a sense of crippling indecision. So, it's possible that we have used our thoughts and our words and our plans against ourselves, either on purpose or often unwittingly. And it's also possible that somebody else has used their thoughts, words, and plans in a way that that has caused us pain, whether they meant to or not. In any case, this is a person who is in a painful situation, and this can be bad for our mental health, right? Anxiety is no fun, especially if we are losing sleep or otherwise, falling short on our routine that helps us function like regular adults in the world, right? So, if you're struggling with this level of anxiety where you're losing sleep, or you're perhaps even having headaches, there's so much stress about a certain subject that you can't really focus on anything else. It's time to find something else to do with your brain. It's time to find a way to get your brain back, right? And if that means talking to a friend, calling in a therapist, or, just going, moving on to something else, like really giving your attention to something else in a way that will help you pull your mind off that thing you can't stop thinking about. Yes, reclaim your brain at this time, friends. And with all of that said, I'm going to go ahead and shuffle some cards while I remind myself and the cards that the sun is in Gemini. And when the sun is in Gemini, it's really about the creative communication. It's collecting data. It's sort of mashing all the data together in a creative way so that we can express it, hopefully in a way that'll make it really clear to other people. And that's that great sharing of information that comes at this time, really, as the sun is waxing to its peak influence during the year. The end of Gemini is June 21st, and around that time we have the summer solstice, which is the longest day of the year. So the sun is culminating, our outer life vibes are culminating, and our desire to think, plan, and share our best ideas is really on the rise, and it's our major focus at this time. And then the moon is a waxing crescent right now in the sign of Leo. Waxing crescent moon is a time of increase where we are giving thought to our intentions and laying out our plans for the coming weeks and months and years, so that hopefully when we come around to this first quarter moon, we have some plans that we can actually take action on, so that a week after that, when we have the full moon, we have a culmination of some kind that we can celebrate. And the moon in Leo, from the heart, we just want to shine our light for everybody and everything around us to get the benefit and growth of the sun's light. Leo is ruled by the sun, so that's sort of it's a very warm and nurturing vibe. It's a very friendly vibe, and it's very sort of, uh, how do I want to say, a flashy vibe? Sure. Leo likes to show off a little bit, just like the sun does. But how do you not show off when you're the sun? So on the moon side of the page today, we have some kind of challenging aspects. This moon trine Mars, sort of coupled with the moon square Venus, gave me an impression that what we're not able to call in toward ourselves, or we're not able to just attract to ourselves, we might be able to command, but not in a way where like we take ourselves very seriously and we act super bossy, really just by setting a really powerful example for others. So that's very early in the morning. I don't know that I'll be setting a powerful example for others, except, to get plenty of sleep. But that is a vibe that is on the table for today. And then this evening, you've got that, kind of late, you've got that moon square Uranus. We might be sending some mixed signals. We might be a little confused ourselves about what we want to do in the heart and the home. And changes, impulsive things we try to do at that hour might not go over well with the people around us. So don't forget to communicate about what you're trying to do. On the sun side of the page today, Saturn goes retrograde, and I am very interested to see how this goes. I've never really observed a Saturn retrograde before, so the guidance is that there's a big slowdown coming. There's sort of a almost a stalled feeling for some people, but definitely we're going to have a lot more time. I remember back in December and January when we had Saturn all over the page, and we were working on our sense of security and our sense of stability in the world. What are our responsibilities? What is it that we need to take care of for ourselves? And Saturn retrograde is really going to ask us to turn that attention in on ourselves, and find out whether the things that we think we do that are working for us are really working for us. Because, the things we do, we really do them because they've worked for us in the past, but, maybe they don't really always work for us anymore. So that's kind of the stuff that we're going to be investigating, especially when it comes to mental health challenges, anxiety, depression, social anxiety. Saturn sort of asks us to, you know, investigate that desire for a certain level of security and see if it is working for us, or if we need to adjust our own idea of what makes us secure. And then the sun's sextile moon here is just an indication of the crescent moon here, and it says we have these cooperative vibes between the outer life and the inner life. Our whole self is working together to help us achieve the plan to help keep us moving forward. In the ongoing column, we have the sun sextile Mars today. Also, just today for the last day, and this has really been an emphasis on action, sort of boosting our strength, our initiative, and our sort of ability to make conquests. The sun and Mars have been working together to help us really focus on the actions that we need to take. And that has been very helpful for me. I hope you've taken advantage of it. And then Mercury trine Pluto has been with us for a while and will continue to be with us through the 19th of June. And this has been this really golden opportunity to be able to notice and sort of notice and sort of process things that are coming up from the gut, or the shadow, the subconscious, things that are coming up for us, such as fears and insecurities, and also just our sense of when things are about to end, or what kind of fresh starts we need to make, in a very conscious way. we've really got a sort of conscious eye on the unconscious at this time, and that gives us an opportunity to look at those things and work with them, which is premium. That trine aspect says it's ideal functioning. It's harmonious. It's almost sort of like divinely protected. So, hopefully, it also says to me, especially now that Mercury is not retrograde but going direct now. Uh, it also says to me that what comes up is going to come out. So if your fears and insecurities come up, it's possible that they will be expressed, but it's probable that that will bring about some positive growth for us. And I believe also Pluto is retrograde. We've talked about that for a long time. It's 6 months out of the year, and that just puts those transformation vibes sort of squarely on the inside, just where Saturn's going to be pointing as well. The inner work is coming up now, friends. Okay, so with all of that said, I'm going to go ahead and turn this card over. And we got the Hermit today. I really personally like the Hermit. The Hermit appeals to me. The Hermit is somebody who has sort of turned their back on society, not because they hate society and culture, but because they're in search of more profound truths. And they're not just in search of more profound truths for their own sake, but because they want to. I don't know if you can see it, but there's a lantern here in this person's hand, so that they can shine a light, so that they can help other people see those truths as well. So the Hermit is, it's sort of it's a pause. It's a drawing back, right? I see the Saturn retrograde in this very, very clearly. We just sort of sort of draw back and sort of seek a little bit of more internal understanding of what our desire for security looks like and how it is expressed in the world. Um, I think the Hermit really speaks to that. It's also just Saturn day, right? And Saturn is sort of the strict teacher. Saturn is the disciplinarian. So the Hermit has to live a pretty disciplined life to learn and grow in the way that they're seeking to learn and grow. There's a stability to it that's sort of, probably a little bit married to asceticism, sort of going without some of the nicer things that one might have if one were, out in the world making a living rather than staying at home and studying. So I know there are some hermits out there who are actual sort of graduate students and that kind of thing, and I applaud you for seeking your higher education, and I encourage people to study whatever it is that gives them fire and passion, whatever it is that gets their brain active, makes them want to think. And I don't even think you need to be sort of in a schooling type situation for that. For example, I have learned a lot more about astrology than I ever knew before since I started uh, doing this YouTube thing and having to explain it to other people. So, take on the learning, that fires your soul so that you can be a light for others in the world. And I believe that's all I have to say about it today, friends. Taken together with the Nine of Swords, you see how the swords seem to move, not pierce this person, but the way they're placed, it looks like they're going through their head, kind of their throat and their heart. And to me, that those look like chakras. Okay, a crown chakra, like the throat and the third eye together, and then the heart chakra. Perhaps, the over deliberation of details is a result of not really knowing what you think or where you stand on something, and having a lot of different words and plans and ideas coming at you from all directions. The sun is in Gemini So after all, perhaps there's just a lot of information coming in, and we don't really necessarily know what we want to do with it. And it can be a little confusing, and we need to withdraw a little bit and ask ourselves, have that conversation with ourselves, have those important conversations with yourself right now, friends. Um, Especially if you're struggling with anxiety. Get into those intuitive and creative practices. Learn about something and, allow it to benefit you. Okay, and that is all I have to say about it. Thank you all so much for being here today. I truly appreciate your presence with me this morning. My name is Melrose, and I'll see you all back here tomorrow for more Astrology Today and Tarot.